My child, I said open this immediately. Do not wait another second. Do not tell yourself you will come back when it feels easier or safer. The truth you need to hear cannot be delayed anymore, not because I am impatient, but because timing has reached a point where silence would no longer protect you. I am speaking now because what you do not know yet has already been affecting you, and love will not allow you to remain in the dark when clarity can still guard your steps. You were meant to see this before it disappears. Not because someone is trying to hide something from you, but because truth is easily buried when distractions multiply and attention drifts. Heaven pressed this moment forward with intention because you deserve to know what is really going on beneath the surface of your life. You have sensed it for a while, a quiet awareness that things are not as simple as they appear. A sense did not come from imagination. It came from me. Stop everything and listen. Stop the habit of half-hearing while planning your next move. Stop the reflex to minimize seriousness by calling it emotion. What I am about to reveal must be told right now, not later, not after you feel ready, not when conditions seem perfect. Truth does not wait for comfort. Truth arrives when it is needed most, and you are standing in such a moment. Do not let this moment pass. I know how quickly moments like this can be lost. A notification arrives. A thought distracts you. A voice inside says, "I'll come back." And then clarity slips away quietly. If you wait, you may miss the understanding you have been praying for. Not because I withhold it, but because you chose not to receive it when it was offered. Stay here. Stay present. Give this moment the attention it deserves. I am speaking urgently because truth protects you. Truth does not harm. It shields. It does not expose to shame. It exposes to heal. Silence, on the other hand, would leave you exposed to confusion, to repeated cycles, to unnecessary pain. I will not remain silent when speaking can spare you that. This urgency is not fear. It is care acting quickly. You have been asking questions in your heart, even if you stop asking them out loud. You wondered why certain things felt blocked, why progress seemed slower than effort, why clarity slipped away just when you thought you had it. You sensed resistance but could not name it. You felt watched over and yet unsettled. Attention was not meant to torment you. It was meant to lead you here. I know you are used to messages competing for your attention, all claiming importance. That is why I am speaking plainly now. This is not noise. This is direction. This is not manipulation. This is revelation. I am not trying to scare you into listening. I am inviting you to stay awake in a moment that matters. You deserve to know what is really going on because you are not weak, and you are not unaware. You are perceptive, even when you doubt yourself. You have felt when something was off. You noticed patterns repeating. You recognized how often you almost moved forward and then hesitated, how often momentum faded without explanation. Those observations were not coincidences. They were clues your spirit picked up before your mind could understand them. This message is here now because truth must be spoken before confusion hardens into belief. Confusion left unattended becomes a story you tell yourself about who you are and what is possible. I am interrupting that process now. I am cutting through the fog before it becomes familiar. I am doing this because I see the whole picture, and I want you to see enough of it to walk forward with confidence. Do not assume urgency means danger is chasing you. Urgency means opportunity is moving. It means alignment is available. It means a window is open, and windows do not stay open forever simply because someone hopes they will. They remain open for those who recognize them and respond. You might feel your heart steady and tense at the same time. That is because truth both anchors and challenges. Let it do its work. Do not rush to analyze every word. Let your spirit receive first. Understanding will follow. I am telling you this now because waiting another second would not bring more clarity. It would only give doubt more room to speak. Doubt is loud when truth is postponed. But when truth is received, doubt loses its grip. Stay with me in this moment. Do not hand your attention back to distraction. You are not being singled out to be burdened. You are being chosen to be informed. Knowledge brings responsibility, yes, but it also brings peace. Uncertainty drains you because it keeps you guessing. Truth restores you because it gives you ground to stand on. Comment amen. I believe you're at work for me if you know He's orchestrating your life. This is why I said open this immediately. Not to rush you, but to reach you before the moment passed. Not to overwhelm you, but to steady you before you move again. I am speaking because I care where you are headed, and because you deserve to know what has been shaping your path without your full awareness. Do not treat this as entertainment. Do not treat it as background. Treat it as guidance. Your life is not random. Your questions are not pointless. Your restlessness is not wasted. All of it has been leading here. Stay with me. Do not scroll away. Do not minimize what you feel. Let the seriousness sharpen your focus, not your fear. You are safe to listen. You are protected by truth. And what I am about to reveal is meant to free you, not frighten you. Open your heart fully now. Set aside defensiveness. Set aside hurry. Set aside the urge to look away. You asked for understanding. You asked for direction. You asked for clarity. This is the answer beginning to arrive. I said open this immediately because timing matters. I said do not wait another second because clarity is present now. I said the truth must be told because silence would cost you more than listening ever could. Jade, listen. Receive. What you are about to understand will change how you see what comes next. My child, open this now. Do not hesitate. Do not scroll past. Do not tell yourself you will come back when you have more time or when you feel more focused. This moment is not optional, and I am interrupting you on purpose. I am not competing with other voices for your attention. I am claiming it. What you are doing right now matters less than what I am about to tell you, and I need you to understand that clearly. I am speaking with authority because I see what you cannot see. I am speaking with care because I know how easily moments like this slip away. You have learned to move quickly, to swipe, to consume, to move on without stopping. That habit has served you in some ways, but right now it is dangerous. Right now, it can cost you clarity, peace, and direction. That is why I am stopping you here. Not gently, not quietly, directly. This interruption is not random. It is deliberate. Heaven itself has pressed pause on your movement so you can hear me without distraction. I know your attention is valuable. I know how many things pull at it every day. But I also know that attention given in the right moment can change the course of a life. That is why I am asking for it now, fully and without delay. Do not treat this like background noise. Do not let your eyes read while your mind wanders somewhere else. I am not speaking to fill space. I am speaking because truth is being delivered, and truth requires presence. You cannot receive what you refuse to fully hear. You cannot be guided by what you dismiss too quickly. I'm telling you plainly, waiting or scrolling away will carry consequences. Not because I am angry, not because I punish distraction, but because moments like this are time-sensitive. When clarity is offered and ignored, confusion fills the gap. When direction is available and postponed, missteps multiply. I am not threatening you. I am informing you. Please support our channel. Our work is to spread happiness in your life and encourage devotion to God. If you wish to support us, you can donate through Super Thanks. You may feel resistance rising in you right now. A voice that says this feels too intense, too serious, too demanding. That resistance is not wisdom. It is habit. It is the habit of avoiding stillness because stillness asks you to face truth. Stay anyway. Do not let resistance decide for you. I know you are used to choice. I know you value freedom. Understand this. I am not removing your freedom. I am asking you to use it wisely. Freedom does not mean every choice carries the same weight. Some choices matter more than others. This is one of them. I am interrupting you because I will not allow you to drift through something critical without awareness. Drift feels harmless in the moment, but it compounds quietly. I have watched you almost miss things before. I have redirected you gently more times than you know. But this moment requires clarity, not subtlety. That is why my voice is firm now. You may be tempted to think, I'll finish this later. Later is not neutral. Later is filled with distractions, second thoughts, and doubts that were not present at the beginning. Later gives fear time to speak. Later allows urgency to fade. I am asking you to stay because staying now is easier than returning later. I am not saying this to overwhelm you. I am saying it to protect you. Protection does not always look like comfort. Sometimes it looks like interruption. Sometimes it looks like being stopped mid-motion and told to pay attention. That is what love does when something important is at stake. I care deeply about where you are headed. I care about the decisions forming in your mind. I care about the direction your life is taking, even when you feel unsure about it yourself. That care is why I will not whisper when clarity is needed. I will speak clearly, even if it feels uncomfortable. You have been moving quickly for a long time. You have learned to survive by adapting, by responding, by keeping up. But there are moments when survival habits work against you. This is one of those moments. Speed will not serve you here. Presence will. I want you to understand that this moment is not one among many. It is a hinge. What you do with it will influence how the next season of your life unfolds. That does not mean everything rests on a single decision, but it does mean awareness now will make future decisions lighter and clearer. Do not underestimate the cost of ignoring what you sense is important. You have felt before when something mattered, and you moved past it anyway. You remember the quiet regret that followed, the feeling that you missed something you could not fully name. I am preventing that now by stopping you here. I am not trying to trap you. I am not trying to control you. I am trying to inform you before confusion sets in. Knowledge received at the right time is mercy. Truth heard when it is offered is protection. I am offering both now. Let your breathing slow. Let your mind stop racing ahead. You do not need to solve anything in this moment. You only need to listen. Listening is not passive. It is an active choice to remain present when it would be easier to move on. I know you are capable of focus. I know you can stay when something matters to you. I am asking you to treat this moment as something that matters. Not because I demand it, but because your future will benefit from it. Do not assume this interruption is inconvenience. It is alignment. It is the kind of pause that saves time later by preventing wrong turns now. You may not fully understand everything I am saying yet, but understanding will come as you stay. This moment is not optional because clarity rarely repeats itself in the same form. If you let it pass, it does not return unchanged. It returns quieter, harder to recognize, easier to dismiss. I am speaking clearly now so you do not have to search for clarity later. You are not being rushed. You are being invited to stop. Stopping is not weakness. It is wisdom when the path ahead requires direction. I am here with you in this interruption. I am not speaking and leading. I am present, steady, and attentive. Let that reassure you. You are not alone in this pause. Give me your attention now. Not out of fear, but out of trust. Not because you feel forced, but because you recognize the weight of this moment. Waiting or scrolling away would be easy. Staying will be fruitful. Open this now. Stay with me. What I am about to unfold for you requires that you hear it fully. And hearing it fully begins with choosing not to look away. My child, this message is being pushed to you because unseen hands have been guiding you here with care and precision. You may think you stumbled upon it, that it appeared simply because you were searching, scrolling, or passing time. But nothing about this moment is accidental. Long before you noticed it, heaven noticed you. Long before you felt the pull to stop, I saw the exact moment your heart would be ready to listen. This message did not chase you. It was placed in your path because timing matters now. There are movements you cannot see that have been working quietly around you. Not to control you, not to trap you, but to protect you and bring you to awareness. I have been guiding your attention gently for a long time. Through restlessness that would not settle. Through thoughts that returned again and again. Through moments when you felt prompted to pause but could not explain why. Those were not interruptions to your life. They were invitations leading you here. Divine urgency does not arrive randomly. It arrives when alignment is possible and delay becomes costly. I did not push this message toward you because I was impatient. I pushed it because silence would no longer serve you. There was a time when quiet nudges were enough. A time when you could sense direction without needing words. But you are now in a season where clarity must be spoken plainly. That is why this message found you now and not earlier. Timing is not just about schedules or clocks. It is about readiness, protection, and alignment coming together at the same moment. You have grown in ways you do not fully recognize. You have learned through waiting. You have been shaped through disappointment. You have become more aware through confusion. Those experiences were not wasted. They prepared you to recognize truth when it arrived, not just to hear it and move on. This message is being pushed to you because heaven hath been protecting you from walking too far without understanding. There were paths that looked harmless but would have drained you slowly. There were decisions that seemed small but would have carried heavy weight later. I redirected you quietly. I slowed things down without explanation. I closed doors without noise. At times you felt frustrated, even confused, wondering why progress stalled. That stall was protection. You were not blocked because you were unworthy. You were held back because you were being preserved. Preservation often feels like delay when you do not see the whole picture. But now you are approaching a point where preservation must turn into preparation. Preparation requires truth, and truth must be delivered at the right moment. Say amen. I trust you in every moment if surrender brings you peace. This message is not random because your life is not random. The details of your days, the timing of events, the way certain things fell apart just before they could trap you, none of that was accidental. I have been involved in the details, even when you thought I was distant. I have been guiding without forcing, protecting without announcing, lying without rushing. You may wonder why this message feels urgent. It is because the moment it speaks into is active. You are not standing in a neutral space right now. You are between what is coming, between a season that has completed its work and one that is about to begin. Moments like that require awareness. Without awareness, transition becomes painful. With awareness, it becomes purposeful. This message is being pushed to you because you are not lost, even if you have felt unsure. Lost people wander without awareness. You are here because something in you has been listening, even when you doubted yourself. You questioned. You reflected. You sensed when something was off. That sensitivity is not weakness. It is discernment growing within you. I did not send this message to accuse you. I sent it to inform you. Information is a form of care. It gives you the ability to choose wisely instead of reacting later. You deserve that. You deserve to understand what is shaping your path instead of feeling confused by it. There are forces that pull at attention constantly, trying to scatter focus and dull awareness. Noise multiplies easily. Distraction feels normal. In that environment, truth can be buried quickly if it is not received when offered. That is why this message was pushed to you now, with urgency. Not to scare you, but to reach you before distraction takes over again. I know you have been asking questions, even if you stopped forming them as prayers. You asked why progress felt uneven, why clarity came and went, why peace felt close but never settled. Those questions were not ignored. They were answered by timing, not by words until now. Now words are needed. This message was placed before you deliberately because you are capable of hearing it. Not everyone is ready for clarity when it arrives. Some are not willing to stop. Some are not open to truth that challenges comfort. You stayed. You listened. That alone tells me something about your heart. Divine urgency does not mean danger is chasing you. It means opportunity is near. It means alignment is possible. It means a choice is forming that will shape what comes next. Heaven moves to inform before that choice hardens into habit. That is what is happening now. I am not exposing you. I am covering you. I am not revealing truth to burden you. I am revealing it to steady you. There is relief in understanding, even when understanding carries responsibility. Responsibility handled with guidance is lighter than confusion carried alone. You were guided here because you have been protected long enough to be ready. Protected from rushing. Protected from settling. Protected from outcomes that would have distracted you from what matters most. That protection has brought you to this moment of clarity. Do not tell yourself this could have come at any time. It could not have. Earlier, you might have dismissed it. Later, you might have regretted missing it. Now, you are able to receive it with honesty. That is timing. That is alignment. Heaven does not waste words. I do not speak without intention. If this message has reached you, it is because it has something to give you that you need now, not later. Something that will guard your next steps, steady your heart, and sharpen your awareness. Stay present with this truth. Let it settle instead of rushing to conclusions. You do not need to act on everything at once. You only need to remain open. Openness allows guidance to continue. This message was pushed to you because I am involved in your life more deeply than you realize. I have not been watching from a distance. I have been walking with you through confusion, waiting, and quiet growth. Now I am speaking because the moment calls for it. Trust that this was placed before you deliberately. Trust that you are not late. Trust that awareness now is a gift. I am here, guiding you not only to this message, but through what comes next. My child, I need you to listen carefully now, because I am about to tell you the truth you haven't been told, the truth beneath the surface, the truth that explains why things have felt confusing, uneven, and harder than they should be. What you have been experiencing is not because you are incapable, not because you are failing, and not because I have withdrawn from you. Things are not as they appear in your life, and understanding this will lift a weight you have been carrying without knowing why. You have been looking at your life from the outside, trying to make sense of it using what you can see. You have measured progress by visible results, peace by circumstances, clarity by logic. But much of what has been shaping your experience has been happening beneath the surface, beyond what your natural eyes could recognize. There have been hidden dynamics at work: spiritual resistance, internal misunderstanding, and unseen pressure that distorted how things looked and felt to you. One of the reasons confusion has been present is because you have been standing between two movements at once. On one side, I have been calling you forward, drawing you toward alignment, growth, and deeper clarity. On the other side, there have been resistance, not always loud, not always obvious, but persistent. Resistance does not always look like open opposition. Sometimes it looks like delay. Sometimes it looks like comfort that dulls urgency. Sometimes it looks like distraction that keeps you busy but unfulfilled. That resistance created tension, and tension without understanding feels like confusion. You wondered why your efforts did not always produce the results you expected. You tried harder, thought deeper, prayed more carefully, yet things still felt blocked. That blockage was not because your effort was wasted. It was because you were pushing against forces you could not see. When unseen resistance meets sincere effort, the result often feels like exhaustion without explanation. I saw you pushing. I saw you trying. I saw how tired you became, wondering why progress felt slow. There were misunderstandings forming in your mind because you were interpreting spiritual friction as personal failure. You told yourself you were behind, weak, or missing something others seemed to understand easily. That was not the truth. The truth is that you were being challenged at a deeper level because what you carry matters. Resistance does not show up where nothing is moving. It shows up where growth threatens to break old patterns. I need you to understand this clearly. Confusion is not always the absence of truth. Sometimes it is the presence of multiple voices competing for your attention. My voice was there, steady and consistent, but it was surrounded by other influences: fear, doubt, past disappointment, and the pressure to make sense of everything immediately. Those voices did not overpower mine, but they crowded the space, making it harder for you to hear clearly. There were also moments when misunderstanding came from timing. You tried to understand what was happening before the season had fully revealed itself. When you try to interpret a process while you are still inside it, things feel unclear. It is like judging a path while standing in the fog. The fog does not mean the path is wrong. It means you have not yet reached the point where everything becomes visible. Another truth you haven't been told is that not all resistance comes from outside you. Some of it comes from within, not as rebellion but as self-protection. Parts of you learned to be cautious because you were hurt before. Parts of you learned to hesitate because disappointment taught you to guard your heart. Those parts were trying to keep you safe, but they also slowed your movement. When self-protection meets divine invitation, the result can feel like inner conflict rather than peace. You interpreted that conflict as uncertainty about me. It was not uncertainty about me. It was tension between where you were and where you were being called. A tension is uncomfortable, and without understanding it, you tried to resolve it by overthinking, by waiting, or by settling. None of those brought relief because the conflict was not meant to be solved by staying still. It was meant to be resolved by movement. I also want you to know that some confusion existed because I was shielding you from knowing everything too soon. Full understanding before readiness can overwhelm rather than help. There were truths you were not yet ready to carry, not because you were weak, but because you were still growing into the strength required to hold them. Silence was not abandonment. It was pacing. But now, enough has been hidden. Enough hath been delayed. Enough hath been misunderstood. That is why I am speaking plainly now. The truth you haven't been told is that your struggle was not meaningless, your confusion was not random, and your delays were not proof of failure. They were signs of a deeper process unfolding, one that required patience, endurance, and honesty. You were not fighting the wrong battle. You were fighting the right one without knowing its nature. When the nature of a battle is unclear, even the strongest grow weary. I am clarifying it now so you can lay down unnecessary self-blame and pick up discernment instead. There were moments when you felt like something was working against you, but you could not name it. That feeling was real. It was not paranoia. It was perception without language. You sensed resistance but did not yet have clarity to understand its source. Now you do. That resistance was not meant to defeat you. It was meant to test your resolve and deepen your reliance on me rather than on your own understanding. I want you to stop telling yourself the story that you are behind or broken. That story formed because you did not have all the information. When truth is incomplete, interpretation fills the gap. An interpretation without truth often turns inward as blame. Release that now. You were not missing something essential. You were moving through something complex. Things are not as they appear because growth often looks like stagnation before it looks like movement. Resistance often looks like failure before it looks like breakthrough. Preparation often looks like delay before it looks like alignment. You were in preparation longer than you expected, and preparation is rarely glamorous or clear. I am revealing this truth now because clarity changes how you carry what comes next. Without clarity, you would carry unnecessary fear into the next season. Without clarity, you would hesitate again. Without clarity, you would misinterpret resistance as rejection. I am not allowing that anymore. You needed to know that confusion was not your identity. It was a season. You needed to know that resistance was not a sign to stop. It was a sign that movement mattered. You needed to know that misunderstandings came from limited perspective, not from lack of faith. Now that this truth has been spoken, something shifts. When truth is revealed, confusion loses power. When understanding arrives, fear weakens. When light enters, the fog begins to lift. You may not see everything clearly yet, but you see enough to trust the next step. Do not be angry with yourself for what you did not know before. You could not respond to what you did not understand. But now you are being told. Now you are being informed. And now you are being equipped to move with awareness instead of doubt. This truth is not meant to burden you. It is meant to free you. It explains what you have been feeling without condemning you for it. It gives meaning to what felt pointless. It shows you that you were not walking in circles, you were being shaped. Things are not as they appear, but they are not out of control. I have been present the entire time. I have been guiding even when you felt unsure. And now that the truth you haven't been told has been revealed, you can move forward without carrying the confusion that once slowed you down. Stay close to me as this clarity settles. Let it reshape how you see yourself, your past, and what lies ahead. You are not lost. You were not misled. You were being prepared. And now, with understanding in place, you are ready to walk forward with confidence instead of confusion. My child, I need you to understand this clearly and without fear. Silence was once mercy, but it has now become dangerous. There was a time when my quietness protected you, when my restraint gave you room to grow, to heal, to learn how to listen without being overwhelmed. In that season, silence was not absence. It was pacing. It was care. It was me holding back what you were not yet ready to carry. But seasons change, and what once protected you will now harm you if it continues. Silence is not always holy. Silence is not always patience. Silence has a purpose, and when that purpose is fulfilled, silence must give way to truth. If I were to remain silent now, I would not be protecting you anymore. I would be allowing confusion to deepen, loss to increase, and pain to multiply unnecessarily. Love does not do that. Love speaks when silence would mislead. You may have learned to associate silence with safety. You became used to waiting, to interpreting quiet as a sign that nothing was required of you yet. That association served you once, but it no longer serves you now. When clarity is available and silence remains, silence stops being mercy and becomes neglect. I will not neglect you. There were moments in your life when not knowing everything spared you from anxiety. There were times when full truth would have overwhelmed you rather than helped you. In those moments, silence was kindness. But you are no longer in that place. You are not fragile in the way you once were. You are not unaware. You are not unprepared to hear what you need to hear. Continuing in silence now would leave you vulnerable, not protected. Silence has become dangerous because it allows misunderstanding to take root. When truth is not spoken, your mind fills the gaps. It creates explanations, many of which turn inward as blame or outward as fear. You have felt that happening. You noticed how confusion lingered, how questions multiplied instead of settling, how uncertainty became heavier over time. That is what prolonged silence does when a season has ended. Write amen. Your faithfulness is my foundation if God's promises never fail you, and share this video.